Welcome back, everyone, and welcome back, Alison Seaboards.
Hello.
Which we'll know as Ali in the next hour, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
It's a lovely name, though.
Thank you very much.
It's a lovely, grand name for an artist. I can see it in the exhibitions and everything. It is lovely to have you back with us as well, because I know there's been a wee gap, hasn't there?
Yes.
Because you've been a little bit busy with...
A tiny bit,
with this, which is your first time in print.
Yes.
And we've just been talking about how that is both a thrill and a terror all mixed into one.
Yes, it's really bizarre, I have to say, because, yes, like I was saying to you, it's been the absolute top of my career bucket list for so many years. And for it to actually now be here and in the flesh and in print is very bizarre.
I always love this. It's always a really proud moment as a presenter as well, actually, to sort of introduce for the first time. Now, this is not available anywhere but here right now. It is on extended delivery, so it will go out on the 24th of February, but you are absolutely, to coin a phrase, hot off the press, because you will be the first people to see this. Ali, if I'm new to watercolour full stop, will this be a useful resource for me?
Yeah, so the thing I had in the back of my head all the time that I was writing it was that I wanted it to be a book that you returned to. So it's not a book that you're going to sort of sit down, read from start to finish, and then go off and do your projects. Yeah. It's going to be a book where you'll read a little bit and you'll do some experiments, and then you'll go back to the book, hopefully, and add on to those experiments. So it starts off, the very first chapter is, look, here's your materials, here's the kind of the information, but you know what, it doesn't matter. Throw some paint at a piece of paper, see what happens, and then come back when you you've got to the end of that. So it's aimed at beginners, intermediate, advanced, hopefully everybody. But I'm also hoping done in a way that it's accessible to everybody, so that it's not scary, but also it's hopefully not boring either.
Do you know, for me, and I am brand new to this full stop, to Hochanda, to watercolour, to mixed media, to absolutely everything. But the method of trace down, for me, is the absolute secret of this, because that allows you to take any image from any photograph that you've taken, because we all take amazing photographs on our phones or cameras or whatever.
Yeah,
we get them printed out and we think, oh, I can't just put that on the wall. Wouldn't it be lovely to actually make a watercolour out of this? Now, this bundle includes also you walking along with us, because you've got the DVD there as well. Yes,
so the DVD is a companion to the book. It doesn't duplicate what's in the book. It kind of mirrors my whole ethos about 6 different types of technique, experimenting with them and then putting them together in a project. So yes, you can sit there and in real time watch me create the experiments, create the final painting, and you can put me on pause, which not very many people can.
And there you are. Now, this bundle that we have right now, which is the book and the DVD, actually represents a really, really nice saving as well, saving £9, which is lovely. This is Ali's first book as well, which is always an absolute thrill. You get also get the line art as well, don't you?
Yes, you do for the DVD, because we are, like you say, very aware that if you are a beginner or if you're a little bit hesitant, we would like to provide you with the tools that you feel confident for transferring, and then you can follow along. And it's just a little bit of a shortcut between worrying about how you're going to get it down onto paper and actually making a start on your projects.
So this becomes...
That would be that.
Oh, I love this. I want to handle it like it's pure gold.
Please don't.
Beautiful. No, it is. It's superb. Look. So you are going to hold our hands to take us from the line print there to this. Very, very busy already. Over 10% of the book and DVD bundle already allocated, and completely well done. And I think actually watercolour is watercolour, and that's great, and that has one dimension. Adding mixed media to that really does bring it to life, doesn't it? It takes you in different directions, doesn't it?
I mean, I love watercolour for all the things that it does. It's kind of translucency and luminosity, but I have to say I'm moth-like when it comes to materials, and I like to pick a material for the mark that it makes. So rather than trying to make watercolour do everything, I will pick up a white gel pen because it makes a better white mark, or I will kind of grate something over the surface, or I'll introduce some craft techniques, all sorts of things, so that you're getting the most out of your materials and you're being the most creative version of yourself as well.
It's kind of breaking the boundaries, isn't it? I love your imagery as well.
Thank you.
Your favourite subject matter is animals, and
Definitely.
you can see you talk to us about, you know, expression and personality, because we've got behind us as well. We've got some of the paintings from the book as well, and getting the expression of animals can be really, really difficult. But there's so many different techniques in this as well. So it is literally step by step, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I love it. Brand new, hot off the press. We are some of the only people in the UK who can actually physically hold one of these at the moment. For that reason, it is on extended delivery, and that's the publishing deadline of the actual book itself. But the book and the DVD together, £19.59. The book by itself, by the way, just to let you know, is £15.60. So you can see, I think the DVD is something like £12.99 on its own. So the saving of the two together. We always want to give you the best saving. You can buy them individually if you want to, by all means, but the two together, we like to bundle things where we can, and thank you, because that's very, very kind as well.
It's all right.
Right, let's make our way down, and then we can start playing and doing as well, which, of course, is always the best part of these shows. Now, we have the SAA 3 round Imitation Sable series brush set. So, size 4, 8 and 14. So, for the uninitiated, size means?
So sizes are only relative to the range that they're in.
Right.
So what's a size 4 in one brand of brush isn't going to be the same as the other. It's just a way of labelling it within the range of brushes that you've got. In this range, 14 is the largest, and there are sizes smaller than the 4, but these are the sizes that I use with regularity.
OK, so the Imitation Sable.
Right, so in watercolour terms, natural hair brushes have the best water holding properties and the best colour holding properties, but an actual sable can be very expensive, and you can have some ecological concerns about the use of that. So the SAA came up with an imitation sable. So it's a nylon filament, but it's designed to look like a natural hair. So it's got a greater surface area, so it holds water and colour much better than other nylon brushes.
And you stand by it, and you're going to be using it.
I'm going to be using
as well.
it. I use it in the DVD, use it all the way through the book too.
Perfect. So they are the ones to have them. 599785 is your item number for those. £31.22. Right, let's move down and do some trace down. Now, this is really, really good. Now, I love this. Now, this comes in a different kind of, couple of different configurations. So this first bundle is a black pad of watercolor paper.
Yes, very unusual for watercolorists out there, black. So you've got two different, just to get really technical for 2 seconds,
go on.
You get two different kinds of painting. You get subtractive painting,
right,
which is where you add all your darks. So you're starting with the lightest thing, which is usually white paper.
Right.
And you add all your shadows.
Yes.
And then you have additive painting, where you start with the darkest thing and you add all your highlights.
Right, OK, yes.
So with the black watercolour paper, it's quite unusual because most of the time it is a subtractive way. But this, you're looking at adding your highlights. But if you've got metallics or acrylics or all sorts of other materials in your stash, then you can simulate watercolour paper, because that's what it is, but it's black and not white.
And that's 360 GSM as well, so
it is,
extremely
really
hefty. Now, to go with that as a companion, you need the trace down sheets, and this for me is the genius and the secret. Now, obviously, these are the white trace down sheets to go onto the black paper in this particular bundle here. You also get the line drawings as well. Yes,
so we've put this package together because, again, like I said, I'm very aware out there that there might be people who are thinking, well, that's fantastic, but where do I start?
Yes.
So we've got 10 images, 10 photographs, and I've created line drawings from each one. So you have the photographs to reference from, and you have the line drawing to go with your trace down to get it straight onto that shiny surface, and you're kind of on your way.
So you've got some starters as inspirations, and then you'll go to your own pictures, your own images that you've got. You'll have them printed out, and then you can trace down yourself. But to have the line drawings and the images there as well is really, really good. All of that at £26.99, which I think is absolutely exceptional. I know as well, this is extremely well respected, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
This paper, I've seen it at other suppliers as well, and actually, it is the kind of go-to, isn't it?
Oh,
in terms of
definitely.
its construction, its absorption, of course.
And I'm really mean to paper. I throw all sorts of things at it.
Oh, okay.
And with cheaper quality papers, then you can actually rub a hole in them if you're not careful.
Oh, okay.
And you'll see where I throw colour at it and collage and acrylic and all sorts of things. It means that it's going to stay together and it's not going to fall apart on you.
Let's have a look at one of your
Just a quick little sketch.
Examples. Quick little sketch. I love it. How modest is that? Look at that. That's beautiful. Quick little sketch. Something I run up in 2 minutes earlier this morning. £26.99. Now, there is a different bundle, is there not?
Yes.
And this is where we switch the paper to a white.
Yes.
And switch the white trace down.
Look at you.
For a graphite. So, of course, now we have to do it the other way around because we're tracing dark onto light.
Yes, well done.
Got
Yay.
it. See, I knew it would only take half an hour and I've got it. So this is the other way around. This is converse.
Yes, yeah. And with this, you've got Milford watercolour paper, which is probably one of the best watercolour papers you can buy. It's I use it because it is such good quality. You can float the colour on the surface, which is a thing that watercolourists talk about.
It's got an amazing texture.
It has got a really beautiful texture. So you get that kind of soft, ethereal, kind of fuzzy edge thing that I really like in my paintings.
Okay, and that is 300 GSM, that one. There are plenty of other items available in the show as well. Please do have a look on the website at hochanda.com. Something else we have on the website as well is a membership to the SAA. Sorry, there's a slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. SAA, which is very different to the ASA. The SAA, now, to become a member of the SAA, don't buy it through the website, but go to the web details at hochanda.com, scroll down, and there will be a link there to actually join the SAA. And in a nutshell, Ali, membership of the SAA, I'm sorry, I'm going to get that wrong all morning now, links you with a big society, a big collective of artists.
Yes, so we're just a big community of people who are interested in painting two-dimensional things, not just painting, drawing and all sorts of things. And the thing I love about the SAA is that it doesn't matter whether you've been painting 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years, whether you are literally, you've bought a set of paints and you don't know where to begin, or you're a professional like me. It puts us all together, which means that we can share techniques, we can share information, we can support each other, which is just as important as all the creative stuff, and we're all there for each other.
And there's bi-monthly magazines as part of that. There's a lovely welcome pack of essentials as an introduction to your membership as well. If you do want to know more, you don't buy the item number for us. The reason we put the item number there is so that you can go to the website, follow down through the details, find out what it's all about, and then follow the link from there to actually create your membership. Any confusion, you can speak to our team, of course, but you're buying it directly through the SAA.
Well done.
Right, OK. Alison, over to you. So where do we begin? OK,
so I thought I would use one of the line drawings which is in the pack.
Perfect.
And this is the image. So this is my Birch Trees.
That's beautiful.
And what I've done, I've kind of done it in stages for you. So I've got my painting all prepared, ready to paint, but I thought I would show you how I got to this point.
OK, yeah.
So if I flip over, here's the line drawing that you will receive in the pack. And the way that I do it is that I take a bit of masking tape and I anchor it down onto my watercolour paper. And then here's a piece of the graphite coloured trace down, which I slip underneath. And then I use a biro, actually, to draw back over the line drawing, and it will come through. If I do a little bit for you, you can see the lines come out.
Can I ask a silly question? Because I think that's what I'm here for. It's not for my artistic ability yet. So this is similar in a way to a kind of carbon paper, but it's actually leaving more of a pencil line.
So the difference between carbon paper and trace down is that carbon paper is wax-based.
Right.
And wax-based products are going to repel watercolour.
Yes.
Which is lovely if you want that,
yes, but
not so great
no.
if you want to be able to paint over the top of them. So this is graphite on the back.
Right.
And I've used this sheet.
So graphite as in what? On a pencil
like a
lead?
pencil,
Right.
yeah, exactly like a pencil lead. And I've brought this sheet in with me today to prove to you as well. There's my very quick transfer that I did. But also, this piece of trace down has been used again and again and again and again. You can see the kind of tracery that I've got left on the sheet, but it's still viable. So it's not like you use it once and chuck it away. You can use it again and again. And in those packs, this is A4 size. In the packs, you've got A3. So you can do much bigger work, or of course you can chop it up, and you've got a lot for your money there. So that's how I get my line drawing down onto the paper.
Fabulous.
And then if I just flip back to what I've done, I thought it would be fun because we've got a Hochanda audience today, and I love to be able to link crafts with the fine art that I do. I like to make a transition there. I thought one of the things I'd share with you today is Collage Technique. So I had, let's grab some scissors and a bit of collage paper. I have this tissue paper that's got some old type on it, and what I did was I literally cut some tree shapes out, and I didn't make them particularly neat and tidy. I just ran a pair of scissors up the side of the tissue paper, and then very quickly and simply you can end up with the trunk of a birch tree very quickly, which I can stick down and then I can paint over the top. But the way that I do it might be a bit unusual to people out there. So here is a product that I use an awful lot, which is called Bindex, and is in the accessories bundle that we've got today.
Yep, popping up.
And I like Bindex more than PVA glue for the plain and simple reason that PVA glue and the way that I like to stick collage materials down, I find I have to thin PVA glue out. Right. Which can be fraught with danger, and also I get bored of doing it, if I'm honest. So Bindex is a much nicer consistency, and because it is based on acrylic paint, it means it dries faster.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to pop a little bit of it into my palette, and I'll show you exactly how I lay the collage materials down. So I'm just wetting my brush, not because I need it to be wet, just to get it moving, and I'll find a little bit of kitchen roll.
The accessories pack, by the way, that you're seeing is much more than the Bindex. In fact, it's a nice little bundle. Ali, just quickly, if you don't mind, just talk us through that.
So we've got Magic Sponge, which is really good. If you've ever seen Matthew Palmer come on the show, he uses magic sponges quite a lot for lifting out colour. Yes. You've got pipettes for transferring any inks or anything liquids. You've got a spray bottle, which is one of my tools that I could never be without in a million years. And you've got a palette knife set, a plastic palette knife set in there as well. So lots of accessories there for you to be able to experiment with.
Plus that big, and it's a big size of Bindex.
It is, yes, 250 mil. Yeah,
that's huge.
So
you'd expect almost that to be the 1365, or at least 9.99 of that 1365. That's
it's really good value. So I've got my Bindex here and an old brush, and what I do is I put the Bindex down onto the paper first, and then I lay my collage material into the Bindex. And then I put a layer of Bindex over the top. So I'm sort of making a Bindex collage Bindex sandwich. Okay. And you can see it goes down really nice and flat and isn't going to buckle. Yes. But you probably can't see it at home, but you can certainly see it from where you're standing. Yes. I've got a bit of a glue halo all the way around the edge, which is going to repel my watercolour if I'm not careful. Okay. So I'm going to wash my brush out, and then I'm going to run a little bit of water around the edge and use my kitchen roll to blot off the excess. It doesn't matter if it blots a bit off the surface of the collage too. Yes. And then that way I know that there is glue underneath, over the top. It's going to stay down nice and flat. It's a lovely shot of how flat it is. Yeah. And you can allow that to dry. It won't take very long to dry at all. And then you can paint straight over the top with whatever media you choose.
And that's incredible, because actually you really kind of soaked that then. And this is 300, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the Milford paper. And like I said, you can see how mean I am to my watercolour paper. I'm not nice to it at all, but it sort of takes it. So that's my collage technique. So I'll just whip that out of the pad, and then you'll be able to see how I got to this part of the painting. And actually, because I was using tissue paper, you could either use the line drawing to draw the tree shapes with a bit of trace down on the top, or actually what I did was I just put the sheet of tissue paper over the top, could see my line drawing through, and just drew it on top in pencil and cut it out. So it was nice and easy. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to introduce some watercolour to it. And we're going to kind of paint a fuzzy background in so that it gives it something for the trees to show up against. And I'm using the SAA own brand watercolours.
Okay.
I've got cerulean blue and I've got lime green, two of my favourite colours to use, really nice and vibrant.
Okay, we've got all of the paints and all the different colours are on the website there under that item number that you're seeing there, 436182. You can pick and mix any 3 of those for $16.99.
And so all I've done is kind of squeeze a pea-size amount out onto my palette. And I've got my size 14 Imitation Sable brush there, which I'm just washing out, just simply because I noticed that I'd left some paint on it. So I'm horrible to my brushes as well as my paper. And I'm going to add a little bit of water into these to make a puddle of colour, so that when I'm halfway through my background, I'm not going to run out.
Okay.
And then I'll do the same with the lime green as well. Such a lovely colour.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Just lovely and bright and rich. Give my brush a really good wash out. And what I'm going to do is create a vignette.
Oh.
Word of the day.
Vignette. That's one of the filters on my phone, I think,
yes,
isn't it? It says
is.
vignette.
So, yes, so you will know that if you apply a vignette filter to a photograph, you get fuzzy edges. It's a posh word for fuzzy edges. That's what it is. And like I said...
we all wondered.
In watercolour, I quite like it when it fuzzes out into nothing, because I think that gives your painting a bit of atmosphere and it doesn't oversell it to the audience. You're kind of suggesting something and really not describing all of it. And there's loads of ways that you can do this, but my preferred technique is with the spray bottle. You can do the very noble thing of loading up your brush with water and putting the right amount of water down. Personally, I think life is too short. So I get the spray bottle out. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of putting water in a horseshoe shape around the edge. I don't need to worry about the middle. What I'm more concerned with is where... well spotted.
Been molting.
Was it? It could have been dog hair, to be fair. The colour will run out into that water now and create a soft edge. I got a piece of kitchen roll at the ready, and then I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to pick up lovely puddle of colour. You can see how much colour that size 14 brush picks up. And as we say in watercolour circles, I'm going to whack the colour on and not worry too much about it. So we'll put this cerulean blue in. You can always add a bit of water to it if you like. And then straight in with the lime green. Now I'm kind of painting north to south because I've got these shapes, and if something happens to my advantage where they start to look like trees in the background, then all the good. And if they don't, they'll just create a really nice fuzzy background for me.
Do we talk about this particular technique in the book?
We most certainly do, because it's probably the technique I use the most for backgrounds. People talk to me all the time about backgrounds and how can I make mine look soft and impressionistic, and this is one of my methods. So now that's all wet, and you can kind of see that it's really swimming with colour. You can't ever paint too wet in watercolour. You can certainly paint too dry, but you can't ever paint too wet. I'm going to take my kitchen roll and I'm going to kind of concertina it up to make some lines, and then through that background I'm going to roll it, and you'll soon see that it creates the texture.
Oh my gosh.
And leaves that nice soft fuzzy edge in the background.
Wow. Can I just first say wow? And can I secondly say, don't you imagine that when you see, I mean, that could be, to all intents and purposes, to the untrained eye, that's done. Do you know what I mean? But who would have thought that actually that wasn't hours and hours of brushstroke and layering and mixing and definition and everything else, that simple technique created such a vast difference from one to the other. That's amazing. I have to just quickly update you. Apologies, Alison, because I just want to see. But the bundle, the book and the DVD, Ali's premiere book. This is the first one. It's always such a thrill. For the first time, 40% of the bundle of the book and the DVD has already been allocated. The book is incredible. Does talk about all of the techniques that we are sort of snapshotting now in this hour, and so much more. And as Ali says, it's about going through maybe 1 or 2 sections of the book, going and having a play and then coming back and going backwards and forwards. And remember, Ali is with you via the DVD as well, which is fantastic. Again, lots of different project ideas, lots of different technique ideas are in there as well. Right, OK, back to you, because...
I'm just going to give this a quick dry, if that's OK.
Yeah, of course it is,
It won't take me 2 seconds, hopefully. I won't dry it as well as I would dry it normally if I was not on live television. But we'll just, we'll give it the once-over.
OK. Well, while you're doing that, let me just show you the details for the brushes then. So if you want the 3 brushes together, Imitation Sable, remember, these are the 3 different sizes. Ali so far has used the largest of the 3, the size 14 there. So size 4, size 8 and size 14. So kind of your small, medium and large, if you like. 599,785. And the price is £31.22. Now, we're using the white pad bundle at the moment. Let me show you the black one first, which is the black 360 GSM watercolor paper. It is your white trace down. You get all of those images that you see there, plus the line drawings of those images as well. And of course, the great thing about the trace down is you can take almost any image that you've ever taken as a photo and then simply trace it down to a piece of the black card, and it's a fantastic watercolor paper. 360 GSM on that particular bundle, £26.99. This is really, really good. Now we'll switch to the white card. We're actually using the white card at the moment. So 300 GSM for the white card, plus you have the trace down, the graphite sheets, 10 of those. The line drawings and the pictures are included there as well. So whether you want to go light to dark, dark to light, it's completely up to you. £27.74.
Right, we'll pretend that's dry. It's almost dry.
It's nearly there.
It's fine. And then what I thought I'd do is show you could use watercolour over the top for the trees if you wanted to. There's absolutely no reason why you can't. You've prepared it in such a way that it's down nice and flat. You could draw over the top, you could colour over the top, but today I'm going to use acrylic inks over the top.
OK.
So this is like acrylic paint, but dries very differently to how watercolour dries. Usually a lot more vibrant.
Yep.
I've got some little samples here to show you kind of bright, really intense kinds of colours here. The difference between acrylic and watercolour is the fact that acrylic, when it's dry, it's waterproof. So you can paint over it and paint over it and paint over it.
Let me just because this beautifully shows you the range of the different colours that we have available, because they are on a pick and mix as well. So you pick any 3, is it this time, for £11.85. So you have the Indian yellow, the flesh tint, raw sienna, which is beautiful, lovely and earthy tones in that one. This is, sorry, I'm reading this upside down. Process magenta. Process cyan. Well, I haven't seen that name cyan for a long, long time, since the old days of printer cartridges.
Yes, yeah.
Dark green. Oh, how beautiful. That comes out as a lovely kind of emerald, doesn't it? And then you have...
Payne's grey.
Payne's grey.
Lovely deep dark colour.
That's good for your newsprint and for your text, I'm guessing, because you are very much a fan of text.
Very much a fan of text
in your artworks,
yeah,
aren't you?
it's a theme that runs through all my work, and you can see it here in the collage paper that I chose. I just get fascinated by writing and handwriting and stamping and all of those kinds of things. And coming to Hochanda is such a joy because people will already be aware of all of those techniques, but it's introducing them in a painting type of way.
I love the way the green kind of leached into the tissue here of this, and it's given that slightly, you know, there's a little bit of what do they call
lichen?
it? Yes, lichen that runs up the tree.
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, not at all.
So the acrylic paints.
So we've got acrylic paints here. So I'm going to use the processed cyan. Now the bottles come with a pipette on them.
Okay.
So I'm going to pop it into my palette. So I've got a bit of the cyan, and I think I picked up the raw sienna. To be honest, they're all so delicious, I just put my hands on the first 2. There you go. Let's take care of that. Let's get rid of that. That's all right. If you're quick with acrylic paints, because they're water-based when they're wet, but they're waterproof when they're dry, so we can take care of that without any problem at all. There we go.
Wow.
All gone. So with the Imitation Sable brushes, you want to make sure that the acrylic ink doesn't dry on them.
Okay.
Because it does dry waterproof. So that's the only thing I would say, just to kind of keep in the back of your head.
Yes.
But I am going to make some thinner versions of them. Now you'll see how vibrant these are. And let's take a little bit of the cyan and a little bit of the raw sienna, and we'll make thinner versions of it. And also together, they make quite a nice green as well. So they're all intermixable, and they're intermixable with the watercolours as well. Anything that's water-based will mix together. So you can really get your kind of mixed media thing going. And we'll take a bit of the colour, and now we're going to start to paint those tree shapes in. Now the processed cyan is an opaque colour. So it means it will cover some of the tissue in places, so you can push back some of your textures, but you can also thin it out so that you get nice variation on it too. So you can see there.
Oh, that colour's beautiful, isn't it?
And you can really kind of play about. Now, I love birch trees because you can't go wrong with them, really.
No, because they are a kind of mix and match of all sorts, and they do change on the way down, and they'll have some silvery parts and some dark parts, and then things grow on them.
Definitely, and you can't really go wrong with them not looking like a tree. It's that kind of thing, because I know beginners out there really worry, is my subject matter going to look like what I want it to look like?
And you're really loading that. I mean, that's really moisture rich, for want of a better phrase,
absolutely.
But it's very wet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet, the
definitely.
paper is...
oh, yeah, the paper's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And, yes, you can see how mean I am to it. And at the bottom here, I'm going to use my brush in a sort of slightly different way on its side to start describing this kind of land that it's coming out of. Let's use a bit of water in there to soften that too. Just to ground them, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nice texture.
I've got loads of things to do to these yet. This is not the end of these trees at all, because we've got all sorts of other things I want to show you and share with you today. But we'll get the acrylic ink on because it's the way of kind of uniting the background and the foreground. A little bit more, so just do this last one. Let's get this on, using a bit of water, and they're starting to come forward a bit now and starting to come to life, which is perfect. Making my way down, so you can see, like you said, how much water I'm using, being quite liberal with it, but not over worrying about it. I'm not kind of getting stressed out about where it's going and what it's doing. And then down here at the bottom, I'll share a spattering technique with you just before I allow these to dry.
Okay.
Because this kind of subject matter needs loads of texture.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways that you can do that. So one of my favourite techniques at the moment, because I go through phases of techniques where I have to use it on everything. One is to create grass. And you do that by loading up the paper with colour, and then you turn your handle around and you run that through the wet paint, so that you get that kind of natural looking, mossy, grassy type effect.
And look how it's sent some further back as well to get that perspective, because I think perspective it would be something I know I would be absolutely terrified
yes,
of.
it can be tricky. And also, one of the things that people struggle with grass is if they use the brush, they end up painting them in, and then they don't look very natural.
Well, then I guess as well they would look too thick, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
because there's only so fine you can go with a brush tip, isn't there?
And also, of course, where we've got different sizes of brush, we've got different sizes of brush handle as well.
Yes.
So you can have really fine brushes and really fine grasses and really thick ones too. So I'm starting to ground them a little bit. And then also, let's just use a pencil a second. So I've loaded up my brush with some colour, and then the brush that's got the colour on is in my painting hand, just over the, I mean, it can be over the top of your finger, but I'm going to do it over the top of pencil. And it means that spattering, which kind of describes texture and all sorts of other things, can be very much controlled. Let's get the other colour going in there too. And then hopefully that starts to give our trees a real sense of weight and where they're placed in this woodland vase. And so I just need to let all of that dry really, really thoroughly now before I go on to the next phase.
I'm addicted to watching this already. But while that dries, let me talk to you about the book and the DVD together. This is fantastic. Here's a little glimpse of the DVD. So Ali is there, basically doing what we're doing right now without someone like me interrupting. To go through and to describe lots and lots of techniques, although I'm available to present the next DVD should you need a presenter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, just putting it out there. Always happy to help. But this is fantastic because this is like one-on-one tuition, really, if you like, going through all of those different techniques. The book is fantastic because it's a great companion to any of the bundles that you are buying right now. It looks a real joy of a book, full stop, to be honest with you. Wonderful introduction. We talk about all of the techniques that we're seeing in the show today, but lots of different advice there. And rather than being a start to finish read, it's a pop into one section, have a little go with the project, have a little play around, use your own ideas there as well, and then try and move on to the next, or have a little flick through and see which one appeals to you most. I have to say, having never attempted anything like a watercolour, let alone watercolour with mixed media, have to say what we've learnt in the last 35 minutes so far has demystified a lot of things. Has it for you as well? I hope so. The whole trace down method for me, because I always thought that to create a watercolour full stop, this is my naivety in terms of art, and this is how we never stop learning. I thought, okay, well, if I had a lovely picture of something, a beautiful scene, to recreate that, I'd have to be looking at the picture, trying to judge, trying to find the distance, the perspective, trace down. Something that had never ever occurred to me. It makes so much sense when you think about it and when you see it in action. This is Ali's first book. It is on extended delivery. It's going out on the 24th of February, and that is the publishing deadline of the book, by the way, that's just holding things up slightly. Because basically we're giving you kind of the biggest preview ever of this book, which is amazing. So you will be the first people to have it, but it will be on extended delivery of the 24th. Does come with the DVD. Now the DVD on its own is £12.99 on its own. In the bundle with the book, and the cover price on the book I think is £15.60. So an amazing saving buying the two together. It's well over an hour, the DVD. Again, Ali, one-on-one with you, pausable, rewindable, and everything else, as simple as a DVD is, which is really, really good. No, you don't need me to teach you what a DVD is, do you, really? They've been around for a long time now, haven't they? £19, I like to help. £19.59 for that. Half of the stock has now sold out and gone in less than half an hour. Right, okay, let's continue on down the counter then, and we have the Imitation Sable brushes now. These are your watercolour brushes, 3 different sizes. They are numbered, but let's call them, for our purposes in this hour, let's call them small, medium and large. So the 4, the 8, the size 4, the size 8 and the size 14. Now it's the size 14 that Ali's been using in the demos so far in the various techniques that we've seen, and we've seen a lot in half an hour. It holds an awful lot of colour, it really, really does, and it's an Imitation Sable as well. So £31.22. More details on the website, of course, next to the item number. 599785 is your item number. Right. Okay, so let's talk pads and the trace down and the line drawings and everything else, because these for me, I love to have moments. I like not to look too much into a show before I start it, because then I can be surprised and I can be amazed and I can learn things along with you. This is such a genius idea. Having the best materials, of course. This is the very paper, the very white paper that Ali's using in the demonstration right now. So this is 300 GSM white paper. The size on these is 280 by 380 millimeters, or 11 by 15 inches. So it's quite big sizes, as you can see. And to go with that, to partner with that, is the trace down paper, which is the graphite. So of course you'll be tracing down like a pencil drawing, but it means that you can take, oh, I've got to show you now. I've really got into this. It means you can take an image like this and a sheet of the trace down. The trace down paper is reusable again and again and again, and then transfer the images directly onto the white paper. You do get all of the photos as well, by the way, and the line drawings as well. So the images from the photos have actually been traced down already as line drawings as well. So again, everything is so simple with this. It's brilliant. So £27.74. Now, quick change, and I'll change the trace down to a white for this bundle, and the paper to a black, and then drop everything. And the paper is a 3 on this particular bundle. Let me just sort out the flare on that and then pick up all of this. You just see me disappearing. I'm just doing my own cleaning here. Thank you, Ali. Right, so yes, so this is the other way around. So black paper, 360 GSM, plus the white trace down sheets, plus the line drawings, plus the images there as well. All coming in at £26.99. So I guess that's your preference really, but I'll just show you something I ran up earlier. Oh no, this is Ali's work. Of course it is. It's no way is that me. That beautiful. It just shows you. Look at that. Ooh, love. 30% of that bundle has now sold out and gone. £26.99. Let's have a look at the fox as well, because that's amazing. We're all in awe of that fox. It's incredible. It really is incredible. I love it. I love it. £26.99. If you've been inspired for the first time, maybe you've been into a place that sells art supplies and you've thought, oh, I wish I had someone to point me in the right direction and tell me how to get started. Hello, here we are. 658360 is your item number. And that's your dog, Ali, isn't it?
It is. That's my lovely dog, Troy.
Ah, little Troy.
Looking over the farm where I live.
And again, you've used that same technique, haven't you, where you've given the context but not the whole picture.
Yes.
So we've got that context of where Troy is and what the surrounding is, etc., etc., etc. But it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's stunning, isn't it? 658360. Let's go back and do some more doing, shall we? Have a look on the website because there are lots more products available in the show as well, including the Essentials kit, which has the Bindex, isn't it?
Yes, the Bindex,
yes,
and the magic sponge, and
the inks are available on the pick and mix as well. Of course, there are sparkle set Posca pens there as well, which are really good. They're like paint pens,
which, if we have time, I'm hoping to use on here too.
Good, right?
Yes,
okay.
yeah. So. That's kind of dry now, and I've wrestled the paper back into shape. This paper is 100% cotton, which means that it's not going to buckle or warp or do funny things to you as well. So you can see it's dried nice and flat. And what I need to do now is I need to make these trees look more birch-like. So here is my reference material, and you can see that the thing that makes a birch tree is that the way that it sort of wraps around. So I thought I'd share a couple of techniques with you of how to do that.
Go for it.
So I'm using the Payne's Grey acrylic ink for this. I'm going to put some into my palette, and I'm going to add, actually I'll do it with a spray bottle, I'll put some water in there too, so that I've got variations on it. I'm switching to the size 8 Imitation Sable brush now, and you can see it's such a rich, strong colour. So I can use this for some, I think it probably needs to be a bit stronger than that. I can use this for some shadows. Let's do it on the main tree, that way if we run out of time, I've at least got one in. So I've run a little bit of colour along the edge of the tree, and then I'm going to use some water to blend that across. So now my tree has got a bit of shadow, and I'm sort of neatening it up and tidying it up a little bit. So we'll pull that across. I'll just take care of the moisture level a little bit. But can you see how now that's looking, hopefully, a bit more three-dimensional?
Yes, it is.
And we'll run it, we'll kind of make the bottom of it quite dark so that we can get rid of the base of that tissue paper. So rather than looking like a cut line, it will blend it in, and I can use a little bit of water at the bottom, and then hopefully it starts to kind of blend together a little bit more. Use that grass technique, and then you've got this nice texture occurring. Put a little bit more on there. While that's drying, I'll very quickly do this one. So the same rules apply. Lots of water. Even though these are acrylic inks, I still paint quite wet, and I still do paint quite fast, and I know that those are things that people really struggle with, because painting can be really scary. It doesn't need to be, but it can be really scary because it is a bit of you on the paper, and that's always, well, a frightening prospect in my case.
And also, it's one of those things that you think, OK, well, if I'm not going to make a good job, I might not even start. And there's also then the judgment of others as well, isn't there?
Yes.
Because you'll always judge yourself.
Oh, you can't be any more harsher critic than yourself. You can't meet anybody harsher. And I think one of the things that I would always say to people is don't worry, don't sort of put your painting that you haven't created yet onto a pedestal. Yeah. Because it will never look like what it looks like in your head. Yeah. Because the minute you do that, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail, really. Enjoy the process of experimenting and enjoy looking to see what happens when you start creating. And then out of that, you'll get a bit more freedom. And then, bizarrely, your paintings will be more successful because you let go a little bit. Yeah. The moment that you load a painting with some sort of project that you've got to attain or some standard that you've got to attain, then, you know, you're going to be in real trouble.
Do you know, I've heard so many times from so many people who do. Yeah. And you know, I've had to go at various things through channels like this, which is wonderful. It's a great honour to do. Is that the more you relax and dive in, actually the better the result that you will get. Some people get and I'm one of those people. I started off with jewellery making, and working with wire. And if you're very tense, the wire behaves in a different way.
And I'd be absolutely lying if I said that I'm always really chilled out when I paint, because I'm so not, and I'd be the world's biggest hypocrite if I said that. But I do know that when I get into the sort of zone of creating and having fun while I'm doing it, things then start to manifest on the paper.
Can you go back to a certain piece that you've done and remember the day?
I remember bits of it, but actually one of the things that painting benefits from is you looking at a painting with fresh eyes. Yeah. Because you get so bogged down in how you did it, and if something went wrong, then that's the bit that you remember. You're not looking at actually what occurred on the piece of paper. And so I try to forget, if you see what I mean. Sometimes I don't, but
a piece like this, would you go for it in one go? You know, a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, or however long it took?
Something that isn't this too kind of challenging, I would just go for and crack on with it. That's what hairdryers are for, because I can't be waiting around. Or one of the things I say in the book is that I tend not to work on one piece at a time. I will do the background of one whilst I'm prepping another, and then that way you come to them fresh every time, rather than getting focused.
Obsessed on one.
Yeah. And I know my biggest failing in life is overpainting. So if I sit there and kind of religiously kind of go at it, I will overpaint it, because it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah,
really.
no, I get that. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the paints grey, and hopefully the base of my trees is looking a little bit more realistic now.
Fabulous.
So I'm going to create some texture on here, and I'm going to create some branches, and I'm going to do it with the palette knife that's in the accessories bundle with the Bindex. Yeah. And you can stick it into the palette, or I'm actually going to load it up with one of the brushes, just the edge of it, because then when I pop it back on the surface, I can drag it across, and hopefully you can start to see that silver birch starting to happen.
What a clever way of doing it.
And it's really quick.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm all about stuff happening without you interfering too much. So let's just do a few more passes of that, and then you get some really nice textures going. This is a bit addictive, this technique, so you do have to tell yourself to stop.
Yes, so you could overdo this as well.
Yeah, really easily, which is why...
Although, when you look at the original image, and you've got that as a reference if you're buying the bundles, that actually you can see there's an awful lot of dark in this particular image, isn't there?
Yes, one of the reasons I chose it, actually, because you've got plenty of texture to play with on that. So I'll do a little bit more.
Is this an image you took then?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. And you get them if you buy the pads with the trace down. Wasn't it funny? There was a lady in the background of that. It's a lady in the backdrop.
It's me with long hair.
Oh, it is you. Yes, it is you. Sorry. Look, Ali's there as well.
Random lady in the back.
You just appeared from nowhere.
Yeah, I have a habit of doing that.
Anyway, what was the point we were making there? I can't remember now.
Line drawings,
That's
photographs.
Right, yes. Darkness in the birch.
In darkness, yeah, there it is. Okay, so I've got my texture on there now, so hopefully it's looking a bit more realistic. And this palette knife is amazing because it's got a long edge and it's got a short edge too. And I'm going to actually add a bit more water to that because I'm going to use it to start creating some of the branches that come off here. Now, again, I try to use tools that stop me interfering too much with making things look natural.
Right.
Because we will kind of, it's our default setting, just dribbled ink onto there, it's our default setting to make repetitive marks.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you start to learn as an artist is that you've got to have a repertoire of marks that you make on a piece of paper. Otherwise, everything ends up looking very similar.
Same, yeah.
And so I do it by trying to find other tools that will make the mark without me overpainting.
Gosh, that's incredible because of course with a brush the temptation would be literally just fill in between the lines, wouldn't it?
Yeah, paint between the lines.
But doing this is leaving those bare parts as well and giving you shading, isn't it?
Bit of hit and miss.
Listen to me, I know nothing about painting whatsoever, and
no, but
I'm
look, 40 minutes with me and
getting it.
That's it. So I'm gonna leave that alone, otherwise we are gonna run out of time. So
how long have we got? We've got about 7 minutes left.
Okay,
Gosh,
and I need to switch to the Posca, so I'm going to give that a quick dry, just a very quick dry, if that's okay.
Yes. Yes, I'll just give you the details of the accessories bundle. The accessories bundle comes with all sorts. Comes with a massive, massive tube of the Bindex, which is brilliant. You also have the magic sponges there as well, which are great for watercolour. You've got the pipettes, you've got the spray bottle, plus you've got the palette knives, of which Ali has just used one in a way that you would never, ever expect to use one, which is brilliant because it's all about learning, isn't it? And now you think of all the ways you could apply paint with the others, can't you, with the different shapes? And then off you go. Right, Posca now.
Posca. So I came really late to the party with Posca. Posca's been used for years and years and years. And then only in the last year, 18 months or so, I went, oh, they're really useful for painting. So it's a kind of habit of mine of kind of latching onto things when other people have used them before.
I love these. I have a pot full of them at home.
They're just fabulous. And so they are very similar to the acrylic inks in that they are water-based when they're wet and waterproof when they're dry. And that becomes very important when you're painting with them. And I'll show you why, because you can draw with them and then whilst they're still wet, you can blend them out. Now these, just because we can, these are the sparkle ones.
Oh, fabulous.
What's not to like about those?
Very, very quickly, I'm just going to show you the bundle that has them in, and then we're going to see them in action. So there they are. So you get all 8 of those colours there.
Aren't they pretty?
And plus you get the water brush as well.
And the case as well.
And you get a carry case for them as well. Right, which is fantastic, but let's see them in action. OK,
so I'm going to draw back over my birch trees, which I can add. So, yes, you can start to see the sparkle on them. And then I can use my wet brush to blend them out so they then become kind of part of the rest of it, and you can see how much they kind of glitter. So if you do like your bit of bling on it, you can add it to your paintings.
We've just had a lovely email from Joanna who said it's lovely to see you back.
Oh, bless you. That's very sweet. Thank you very much.
And the book looks fabulous, she says.
Thank you. That's really, really kind. Yeah, it's really good to be back, actually. So let's add. How long have I got?
5 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. We're not too bad.
4 and a bit.
I'm rushing. And I've got purple here as well. Why am I not using that? So I can add texture, and you can see as well that it's going over the top of that acrylic ink. And now that collage material is really pushed into the background. So rather than looking too dominant, hopefully now it starts to look like it should be there.
Is there anything we need to do in terms of maintenance of the tips of the Posca pens?
They don't like going back into anything wet.
Right.
Particularly, but I tend to, I have to say, with a damp bit of tissue, if they do get a bit clogged up, I tend to just give them a bit of a quick wipe and then they start working again. They're pump action, so you can get the colour to run again. Yeah. They, like any kind of paint marker, they just like a bit of TLC.
And they're gorgeous, gorgeous colours.
Yeah, I mean, I've just chosen these two. Well, I chose purple because that's my colour, but yeah, there's yellows and pinks and greens and all kinds really that you could use back in. So we'll let that be, because my branches and things, I'm so busy looking at it in the TV screen.
It's great though, isn't it? It's lovely because actually even the way the camera sees it, the way the eye sees it, slightly different.
Yes,
so
yeah.
Gives you two different perspectives, doesn't it?
And then just to finish very quickly, I'm going to add a few extra little bits of spatter with that technique, again, a bit higher up this time, so that hopefully you get that kind of sense of a bit of drama. You can diffuse them with your spray bottle. You can do all kinds of stuff. And my last little flourish is going to be some darks down in here, because I want it to be super dark. And I'm really trying very hard not to get you.
Oh, that's all right.
Kind of spat. Luckily, you're wearing
That's
a dark colour.
I'm done after this.
Oh, okay then.
I don't know how that's happened. Don't tell anyone, will you?
And there we go. I'm not going to poke that about too much. I'm going to leave that be, because we've got plenty of layers on there.
That is fabulous, I have to say.
Thank you.
It is, honestly, spellbinding. OK, let's have a quick review of one or two bits and pieces. The Posca pens, first of all, set of 8. It does come with the water brush, and it also comes with the carry case there as well. £34.32, which is really, really good. Really, really good, actually. And let's go back to the details for the book. Proud moments, of course, for... let's give you your proper title, Alison Seaboard.
Yes, thank you very much.
Alison Seaboard. So the book and the DVD together kind of brings together everything you've seen in the last hour. Remember, Ali's back with another hour with Leonie at 2 o'clock, which will be amazing.
Which I'm going to be using the black watercolour paper at 2 o'clock, so that we get to see the other side of it.
See the contrast there if you're looking at the different pads to buy. So the book is a beginner's guide to watercolour with mixed media, full of... say again? 60%? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Right, okay, 60% of a... Well, obviously, this is first run, which is why this is on delayed dispatch, 24th of February. You will be the first people to actually see and feel this book, other than us, because we have the advanced copy.
This is only the second one I've ever seen. I have one copy, and this is the second one I've ever seen, so yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's your first time in print as well, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
I have to say thanks to the amazing team at Search Press, of course.
Very much so.
DVD comes in with the book as well. Separately, the line drawings as well come with this bundle too. The DVD on its own, by the way, is £12.99, so this is the best way of buying it together because it's just such a big, big saving. Wow, I can't believe it. 15 seconds and that's it, we're done. Ali, thank you. What a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, you too. Thank you ever so much.
Back at 2 o'clock with Leonie.
Yes, with Leonie, yes.
It's going to be amazing. Make sure you do not miss that show. I'm so inspired. But again, that's what this channel is all about. We've delivered again.